A single scene from the 1992 film Basic Instinct caused a worldwide uproar when it debuted in theaters, prompting discussions over power dynamics, consent, and the truth behind the scene. People wondered if it was all true because the moment was so stunning. Is that so? Was Stone even aware of what was going on? Come with us as we investigate her humble beginnings in a little town, the subject of one of the most divisive sequences in cinematic history. Sharon Stone came into this world on March 10, 1958, in the sleepy industrial town of Meadville, Pennsylvania, which is famous for its blue-collar jobs and manufacturers. She and her 3 siblings were members of a working-class household. Dorothy Stone was an accountant and her father, Joseph, worked in a factory. Sharon displayed abilities indicative of a high IQ from an early age. By the time she was 3 years old, she was reading on her own, and her parents pushed her to excel in school. By the time she turned 5, her instructors had seen her promise and had promoted her to 2nd grade. Sharon maintained her academic prowess as she grew older. Even though she lived in a town where most people stuck to more conventional paths, her ambition and talent made her stand out at times. She first majored in creative writing and the arts at Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania, where she was a scholarship recipient. She never intended to be an actress. Becoming a lawyer was more her cup of tea. On the other hand, she was artistic and interested in show business. Sharon launched her beauty pageant career while still a college student. Winning Miss Crawford County in 1976 gave her the confidence to pursue opportunities outside her hometown. After receiving encouragement from a lecturer, she made the bold decision to leap. She uprooted her life in Meadville and headed for the Big Apple to become a fashion model. A big shift occurred when they relocated to New York. Opportunities abound in this fast-paced, competitive environment. Sharon wasted little time in signing with the world-renowned Ford modeling agency. It wasn't long before she began making appearances in ads, magazines, and commercials. Because of her self-assurance and stunning good looks, she was able to stand out in her field. She was able to establish a reliable income and experience a lavish lifestyle through modeling. Still, I felt like something was lacking. Posing for photos wasn't enough for her. Acting was her dream. Taking acting workshops and actively seeking parts in cinema and television, Sharon was determined to make the jump. A little role as an extra in Stardust Memories, directed by Woody Allen and released in 1980, was her big break. She gained experience and a taste of Hollywood with The Small Job, though it wasn't a huge one. She had broken through from Meadville and into the entertainment industry. But it was only the start of her adventure. What follows is an examination of her tenacious path through Hollywood, where she landed the parts that would later cement her illustrious career. Sharon Stone's rise to fame in Hollywood began with a baby step, but it was a giant leap nonetheless. Stardust Memories, directed by Woody Allen and released in 1980, featured her in a supporting role. No speaking role was included. She got a glimpse inside the filmmaking process, even though she was only an extra. Being on site inspired her to strive for more than a cameo. She wanted her big break. Sharon began trying out for television parts since she was so set on making it big. Popular series such as Magnum P.I. and T.J. cast her in small roles. Hooker. She was able to obtain experience and make relationships through these small roles. Sharon believed that taking on any role would help her prove herself in Hollywood, where tenacity is paramount. Her breakout role occurred in 1985's adventure picture King Solomon's Mines, in which she co-starred with Richard Chamberlain. Critics weren't impressed with the picture, which was supposed to be a thrilling blockbuster in the vein of Indiana Jones. Even though the film bombed at the box office, Sharon proved she could handle roles with a lot of action. After King Solomon's Mines, she wrote Alan Quatermain and the sequel, The Lost City of Gold. The film also had trouble making money at the box office. She made an appearance in the 1987 comedy picture Citizens on Patrol, which was part of the successful Police Academy series. Although the role was enjoyable, it failed to advance her career. The dream of achieving major stardom remained elusive, but she persisted in her career by acting in independent films and TV movies. In 1990, she received her big break in Arnold Schwarzenegger's Total Recall. In the critically acclaimed science fiction action picture, Sharon portrayed Laurie, a lovely wife who turns out to be an evil villain. Director Paul Verhoeven was particularly captivated by a sequence in which she abruptly goes from being affectionate to aggressive. While everyone else had ignored it, he saw something about her performance. She nailed the roles of both alluring heroine and lethal antagonist with ease. Her career-defining role, which would propel her to stardom, was set in motion by her performance. How she got the part of Basic Instinct and the obstacles she had to overcome will be covered in more detail later on. We were all astonished by the scene. Sharon Stone had a tough time landing the part of Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct. Actually, she wasn't even close to being considered first or second. She was one of 13 actresses who were considered for the role. Notable actresses like Julia Roberts, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Meg Ryan all declined. The job posed a threat due to its sexual material and the manipulative and dangerous nature of Catherine. Instead, Sharon recognized a chance. Because of the potential impact on her career, she fiercely pursued this assignment. After they worked together on Total Recall, director Paul Verhoeven cast her in the lead role. While Basic Instinct is being interrogated, the most iconic moment takes place, the one that made the movie famous. Michael Douglas's character, Detective Nick Curran, is among the guys in the room as Catherine Trammell sits in a white dress. For an instant, we see via her leg crossings and uncrossings that she isn't wearing panties. The viewer, like the protagonists in the drama, is taken aback by the stunning moment. It sparked discussions regarding power, sexuality, and Hollywood's treatment of women, and it became one of the most talked about moments in film history. Sharon Stone said in her autobiography, The Beauty of Living Twice, written years after the fact, that she felt deceived by the incident. According to her, Verhoeven assured her that the nude flash wouldn't be visible and was merely intended to provoke the men in the room. The final version of the film was the only one that made her realize what had been portrayed, she said. She left the screening after slapping Verhoeven across the face, allegedly due to her extreme shock. But the story that Verhoeven told was different. He said that they had spoken about it many times and that Sharon was aware of what was being filmed. He insisted that she had complete knowledge of the scene's camera angles and plot points. Everyone has been arguing about who was speaking the truth about their dispute for years. Resulting consequences. Upon its 1992 release, Basic Instinct became an immediate hit. Its daring plot points, sexually graphic material, and most notably, the now famous interrogation scene stunned audiences. Sharon Stone became one of Hollywood's most talked about actresses when the media erupted into a frenzy about her. Her courageous performance was met with mixed reviews. Some thought the picture was too controversial. Basic Instinct was successful at the box office, whether due to or in spite of the controversies surrounding it. Unfortunately, for Sharon Stone, there was a flip side to the movie's success. Hollywood had a hard time viewing her as anything other than a symbol of sex appeal, because she became one almost immediately. Despite her acting chops, she never got the chance to showcase her versatility since directors were too busy casting her in similarly alluring parts. She had to battle against being typecast throughout a challenging phase of her career because of this. The industry kept casting her in roles that were basically just Catherine Trammell variants, despite her desire to play more complex and diverse roles. Both her personal and professional life were negatively impacted by the pressure to uphold an image of a sex symbol. Later on, she discussed how draining it was to be required to